Any talk that I give always starts with that Dean thing, and it takes me a few minutes to recover from that, then on we go. I mean, you have to feel for me. I lived my whole life as James Dean, and then I take the only job I could possibly take that could make things worse. Dubious career planning. I've probably used like 2 of my 7 minutes already. This is terrible. What am I talking about that for? I just want to say in passing that I was really happy to hear George talk about the whole issue of medical entrepreneurship. And this isn't in my talk, but at UNC Chapel Hill, we've been spending a lot of time on trying to build bridges between the business school and the medical school. We are now starting an MBA, MD program that will allow better collaboration, and also creating some structures by which physician entrepreneurs can work with people in the business school to develop and begin to get their ideas through the abattoir of approval that the government has imposed on them. So I was asked to speak on the topic of how to construct an ecosystem to return the economy to full employment, which is a pretty tall order and not one that I'm sure anyone can actually answer. But so I do have a few ideas that maybe gets us in that direction, so let me share some perspective. I mean, a couple things just in terms of the background for this, or the context, is that I think the deficit and the debt condition have to be acknowledged while we're here in Washington. And Keynesian approaches to stimulate the economy through government spending represent a substantial opportunity in theory, but our ability to launch those kind of big bets are pretty well constrained right now by the need to manage the debt, which I hope they're working on, 4 or 5 miles from here up on Capitol Hill. I hope they have some new ideas, although the news coming out of that is bad. I think to not put lipstick on the pig, I think it just looks awful. So I live in North Carolina, so we say stuff like that, lipstick on a pig, and we get a big kick out of it. So all my homies from North Carolina are all getting a kick out of that up here. The irony is we don't talk like that at home. We only do it for Northerners. In terms of the structural, this is what you invited me here for, right? In terms of the structural transformation of business, we're seeing a lot of changes, of course, in the landscape of business. The era of a purely American company is over. I think it's been over for some time. As evidenced by the Fortune 500, we do continue to lead the world with capable and strong multinational companies, but those companies, many of whom we all work with, are very much involved in the BRICS. I just went to visit Procter & Gamble's Indian headquarters in Mumbai a couple of weeks ago, and there's an American company in the middle of Mumbai trying to figure out how to sell toothpaste in those little kiosks along the roads in Mumbai. So we're only seeing marginal growth in Western economies, but we're seeing tremendous growth in the BRICS and in the next group of companies behind them. However, the U.S. does lead the world in developing entrepreneurial growth companies that really capture our imagination. Some are creating new industries, some are transitioning or transforming traditional industries. Research from the Kauffman Foundation, which we are linked to in a variety of ways, has shown that all net new job growth is derived from companies less than 5 years old, which is really a stunning kind of finding when you think about it. So, I remain bullish on our capability within the United States to establish and build growth companies, and I still believe that the U.S. is one of, if not the best places in the world to found, build, and grow emerging companies. So let me talk about a few prescriptions for what we can do to facilitate growth companies and moving in the direction of full employment within the United States. One is sort of at the heart of what we do in business schools and universities more broadly, which is the preparation of performance-oriented management for high-growth companies. Someone actually has to operate these companies and continue that growth. It doesn't happen by accident. As you all know, many from hard experience, it doesn't happen simply with the creation of a magical idea. There's actually quite a bit of work that goes on that goes under the category of management and leadership. And I think that actually is one of our greatest assets in the U.S. is our capacity to lead and manage businesses. We've led traditionally in preparing generations of business leadership that have fueled the building of our business sector. As a business educator, I assure you that we continue to have our eye on that particular ball to prepare the best business leadership for the next generation who drive performance in our businesses worldwide. And lest I sound too jingoistic and focus so much on the U.S., at my school, at UNC Keenan-Flagler, and really at all of the top business schools around the country, we're bringing people from around the world for this training. We have 30 different countries represented in our entering MBA class, for example. I think we can also leverage American strength in marketing, IT, services, and finance overseas. While we see shifts in operational and manufacturing capacity due to globalization, you may not have noticed the growth of the American service sector. Our dominance of core service markets in IT, marketing, consulting, in particular consulting, and financial services is creating jobs both in the U.S. and worldwide. And I do believe that the service sector really is a platform for growth of the U.S. and the world economy. Third, strengthening strong B2B networks. While multinationals are indeed getting stronger, they increasingly rely on partners to develop their value in one way or another. This does represent a core opportunity for entrepreneurs to build companies that serve these platforms as channel partners. To put that in more straightforward language, there's some things that very large companies do very well, and there's some things that they do very badly. And those things can be done more effectively often by small firms, the kind of firms that we're really talking about here today. Finally, serious global leadership. It's important, of course, that Americans embrace a global mindset and not retreat into domestic markets that have served us for decades. On that note, since again we are in Washington, I do worry about some of the rhetoric coming out of the politicians right now that seems like they want to sort of roll up the gates at this point. As a extraneous comment, I wonder how much of the wonderful innovations over the years have come out of the immigrant community in the United States since our founding. And the idea that we would try to have fewer people to create opportunity for us doesn't seem like an obviously great idea to me. So the next generation must be challenged to embrace the global economy, pioneer new markets, and to lead overseas. And this is going to require some serious global leadership. And I know our graduates, both at our school and the other schools that are represented here, really do embrace this challenge. That just went from yellow to red or something down there. I'm sure that's probably not good. So I will just say that, to summarize the things I was going to say beyond this, that again, our school and the other schools that are represented here, I think are doing a good job in terms of trying to create graduates from our business schools that do embrace this global mindset, that do care about entrepreneurship, and that do care about leadership. We have programs like a Global Entrepreneurship Lab, a Ventures Fellows program, a program of launching the venture to learn how to start a firm, and a VCIC, which Jeff himself was very involved in when he was at UNC, where we have students take the role of venture capitalists. So we're not just speaking in general terms about these kinds of problems, but we are really trying to do our part to build capability, both in the US and beyond, to try and address them. So on that note, I'll stop. Thanks very much.